Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, again, it is a pleasure to be here. And just following about the previous speaker about old and tired, there's probably nobody more old and tired than the one that was just speaking, so he would know. And to ramble on for 20 minutes and say very little, and yet he's condemning the speech from the throne, I just don't understand it, but that's for them to figure out. Mr. Speaker, as I start, I'd like to just start with a few thanks. First of all, my wife and my family for being part of this with us. And I know even on Sunday evening, my daughter and her family wanted a phone to come over, and we said, well, we're away. We're going to be at a function. So it does work on the family a little bit, and I apologize for that, but it's just part of it, and they certainly accept it, and I certainly appreciate that. To my assistants, Judy Hadfield and Rosalie Boots, look after the constituency office very well, consistently, day in and day out, and I don't have to worry about things at the constituency office ever. So it's a good place to be in. I'd like to make note of my board, the constituency board, that are all good supporters, backing me and helping out in Moose Jaw North, and the constituents of Moose Jaw North. I can never thank them enough for the faith that they put in me as their member to represent them in Moose Jaw North. Mr. Speaker, I do have to make an apology, like I told one of my constituents I would. The last time I had the opportunity to speak in the House here was the budget speech. And I made a comment, and after I congratulated the new leader and the premier of the province and the new leader of the opposition for their positions, I made a comment at that time that the leader of the opposition, his parents, actually live in Moose Jaw North, in my constituency. In fact, I made the comment that they were one-time supporters. They both had memberships in the party to support me in the nomination process and so forth. Current supporters. And at the end of my comments, I said they're no longer members of our party. Their membership's lapsed. But I think they like me better than they do the leader of the opposition. Well, there was some offense to that, and I did phone the leader of the opposition's mother and kind of explain maybe a poor attempt at humor, but I did apologize, and I thought everything was okay. And then his dad phoned me back about a month later, explaining that he wanted me to change Hansard. Well, we know we can't change Hansard, but I did promise him that I would stand up and make the record straight that yes, I believe that they like their son better than they like me. But all through this, Mr. Speaker, I did learn one thing, that there are two people in Moose Jaw North, two people that I've found that actually like the leader of the opposition more than they like their MLA. So we'll leave that at that. Mr. Speaker, the speech from the throne is really standing up for Saskatchewan. Standing up for Saskatchewan immediately brings the connotation that's about the carbon tax, but it is much more than that. The carbon tax, yes, it is an imposition that was put onto this province by the federal government, and it's a nonsense tax that has nothing to do with actually reducing carbon or pollution. It's a tax on the people, and rightfully so. This province has taken a stand that says we don't want to be a part of this. We have our own initiative to fight climate change, and that's where it is. So we realize that the carbon tax is something that comes to mind when we think of standing up for Saskatchewan, but it can only be described as a tax on consumers, a tax on citizens, and a disincentive for investment into our province, and disincentive means a slowness in our economic growth. So standing up for Saskatchewan is to fight the carbon tax, and we're prepared, this government is prepared to do so. However, like I said, standing up for Saskatchewan is more than just fighting the carbon tax, Mr. Speaker. It's about standing up for Saskatchewan interests and for Saskatchewan rights, and most of all for Saskatchewan people. It's about growing our province, advancing our economy, attracting investments and creating jobs, increasing our population, providing quality social programs for those less fortunate and who need help. It's supporting growth through education, investment in infrastructure like transportation and education and health care and social housing. It's providing senior care and daycare and improving timely health services. Mr. Speaker, there's the 3 hospitals, the Moose Jaw Hospital, the Dr. F.H. Wigmore Hospital that was built in Moose Jaw. What a fantastic facility it is to serve the needs, the health needs of Moose Jaw and the surrounding area. And I know my learned friend had talked about the billboards that have, where did the money go? I noticed that they're strategically not near this $100 million hospital that was erected, because that's part of where the money went to help the health care, the hospitals, with the Children's Hospital and the Saskatchewan Hospital in North Battleford. Standing Up for Saskatchewan is for quality schools, from preschool to advanced education at universities, affiliated and regional colleges, and Saskatchewan Polytechnic. It's respecting our environment, taking care of the land and the atmosphere, and protecting our water sources with recycling programs, recovering, reusing, and lobbying for pipelines that are safer and more efficient in moving the oil to market. It's doing our part to limit emissions while cleaning up our place on this planet and nicely encouraging others to do the same. Mr. Speaker, we can maintain our integrity in growth and supporting a growing economy. Standing Up for Saskatchewan is about facing challenges, Mr. Speaker. Challenges like low resource prices, challenges of getting Saskatchewan product to market through distant ocean ports, challenges like prairie drought or interruptive harvest weather. These are all challenges we face. And Saskatchewan's history has been a long story of challenges beyond the scope of government. We'll continue with challenges. Perhaps the Honourable Lieutenant Governor Thomas Malloy in the throne speech said it best when he said, "Strength is built as challenges are faced head-on." And that is what our government will is going to continue to stand up for Saskatchewan interests, our economy, and most importantly, our people. The challenges of lower resource revenues. We face that challenge with some difficult decisions. This government presented a plan to reduce the province's dependence on resource revenue and return the budget to balance in the next fiscal year. The plan remains on track. Mr. Speaker, it's important to realize that Saskatchewan's AAA credit rating is reconfirmed by Moody's, a major credit rating agency, on track and doing the right thing. Growing the economy is an important part of growing the province. The throne speech will be expanding incentives to encourage mineral exploration and introducing new oil well drilling and productive incentives. This will attract investment, it'll create jobs, and it'll grow our economy. There are 2 more new schools being built, contributing to the $1.6 billion we have invested in education infrastructure in the past decade, including 40 new schools and 24 major renovations. Mr. Speaker, during this session, we will introduce changes to commercial driver training to improve safety on Saskatchewan roads. The Minister of Highways is implementing an intersection safety strategy to reduce the potential for collisions on Saskatchewan intersections. In Moose Jaw, an extensive study is in the process at the 9th Avenue and Trans-Canada intersection, which has been an intersection of concern for many decades. We've had the former Minister of Highways in there, and I had a meeting with the merchants along the North Service Road, along with the mayor and the city manager. And we have done some improvements to that particular intersection with an exit ramp coming from this Trans-Canada into the city and slowing down the traffic in that particular area. However, it's still a dangerous intersection. In fact, there was an accident recently, just last week again. So there is a need for more to be done at that intersection, and our government is looking at that intersection and other ones around the province. Our government recently undertook a process of public consultation on trespassing laws to better address the appropriate balance between the rights of rural landowners and members of the public. Now, I've had several calls at my office on this issue, and there needs to be consideration given to respecting farmers and ranchers' rights, realizing also that there can be concerns regarding overpopulation of wildlife should it affect the hunting sector, as well as the protecting of land from citizens and hunters who have no regard for the right of hunting on the land and crossing the land, even tearing up posted signs so that they can go on it. So there has to be some consultation there, and that will be certainly forthcoming. The speech from the throne focuses on improving access to mental health with the implementation of crisis teams, pairing an officer of the law, a police officer, with a mental health professional. These teams will be implemented in Moose Jaw as well as North Battleford, Yorkton, and Prince Albert. Standing Up for Saskatchewan includes amending Saskatchewan Employment Act to extend parental leave from 37 to 63 weeks. To me, this is an important social program centering around family. I believe there needs to be more emphasis put on family and family values, and expanding the parental leave will build better family connections. So it is important, and I'm proud that our government is going forth with something of this nature. It is also important to care for our senior family members. This speech from the throne will create a newly critical ill adult leave, enabling family members of critical ill adults to take a 15-week leave to care for the members of their family at a time of need. And Mr. Speaker, in regards to income assistance, another program that I believe is long overdue, I've received some calls in my office on this, on income assistance, who want to get back into their careers. And I'm pleased that the government is listening and understands the challenges to move from that social security that they receive, and they will review the income exemption to look at increasing the amount of income clients can receive before their benefits are adjusted. This means those accessing income assistance will be able to work in their jobs of their choice and gain the experience to help overcome the challenges and to build their careers to help work toward self-sustaining careers. These challenges are significant if they are struggling on assistance, but may need help to gain experience and rebuild confidence and advance in our province. Standing Up for Saskatchewan means supporting people and facing these challenges. Mr. Speaker, Saskatchewan people are unique in many ways. We are a strong and creative people who have continually rose to challenges to find solutions. Challenges and resulting solutions have gained notoriety here as well as nationally and internationally. Saskatchewan continues to make its mark on the world stage with innovation solutions that have been developed here and have been applied throughout the world. Sectors like the technology sector, and I think of Sylvia Fedoruk, who was part of the team that introduced the Cobalt-60 beam therapy unit, the cancer bomb that was the first treatment for cancer. I got a lot of respect for a fellow by the name of Peter Anderson from around the Southie area where I grew up, who invented or developed the rock picker. Growing up on a farm, there was that, he has to be in for sainthood on that one, I'm sure. The air ambulance was first implemented here in our province. Throughout the province's history, Mr. Speaker, Saskatchewan people have created an amazing variety of devices, everything from kitchen gadgets to personal gear to agricultural and industry equipment. When we think of the Morse rod weeders, the Bourgault chisel plows, Depker Industries, the Honeybee Manufactories, Schultes, and there are dozens more. In fact, there are about 3,200 inventions patented by Saskatchewan entrepreneurs and probably thousands on recording. So facing challenges, finding solutions is an important part of the history of our province. The speech from the throne is standing up for Saskatchewan, facing challenges, finding solutions, making our province a better place to live and to work and invest and raise a family and to earn a good living and to retire with dignity. This is our province. This is our Saskatchewan, our people, and our pride. We face challenges, we find solutions, and we cheer for the Saskatchewan Rough Riders like nowhere else in Canada. Mr. Speaker, the speech from the throne sets a plan of encouraging and support for Saskatchewan people for a better future, of finding solutions, working together with the strength of our people and the assets of all the amenities of this province, from agriculture to manufacturing to forestry to mining and oil and gas and potash and uranium and coal and wind and solar energy. It's about facing the challenges and rising above with the initiative of Saskatchewan ingenuity, inventions, strength, determination, and enthusiasm from many people's strength. Yes, we were and still are challenged with low resource prices. We're challenged by a lack of federal leadership in pipeline transport and rail transport. We are challenged without tidewater ports for exports, but we continue to find ways to overcome these challenges. And we're determined not to plunge this province into long-term debt. We made tough decisions, took unfavorable strides to protect the integrity of this province, to protect the social values that people depend on government to provide, with determination to maintain a growth agenda and lead this province rightfully into its capable leadership position in Canada. Many people's strength. We will deliver a balanced budget in 2019-20. We will implement the Prairie Resilience Climate Change Strategy, a plan with positive design to reduce emissions without destroying our economy. Mr. Speaker, the speech from the throne covers a lot of territory. I'm very proud of the speech from the throne that this government put forward, and I am pleased to support the speech from the throne, and I will not be supporting the amendment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.